How long does a pig take to grow? However, how long does it take to go from a weaned pig to a finisher? With proper feeding routines, this can be as short as 5 months, but with poor feeding, this can take you up to 12 months. Rise and shine, Value Farm family. Welcome back to another episode of The Farm. If you're new here, you are most welcome. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and also turn your notification bells not to miss out on any episodes of The Farm. And of course, if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for being part of the family and also loving Value Farm. We appreciate you guys so much. Well guys, we are here back at the farm. It's amazing. It's a beautiful day. The rains are still here, coming back. We thought, it was going to be really hot forever, but the rains are back, but we are happy about it as well. And of course, where you see us, we're in the pig section, of course, bring you more updates and more stuff about pig farming. I also have my co-director right here, who is going to say hello to you guys and also introduce himself.
Well, hello everybody. My name is co-director Grafton. I'm standing here with my partner Tina, the one and only co-founder of Value Farm. And yes, we are back on the ground. But I have to say this, we're currently standing in the pig section. And today, we wanted to actually tackle some of the misnomers about pig farming and also explain to you guys, the reason you should highly consider this as a venture you want to go into. And also, how to just shut out the noise and the negativity and actually really truly consider this as a real option when it comes to you entering the world of farming. So first thing we want to start out with, the reason we're standing in this particular pigsty, I'm sure you guys have found our videos before, and if this is your first time, we welcome you to the channel. Yeah. This is like what's underneath us is a mixture of sawdust and wood chips. And the reason we can actually stand here and still smile, authentically smile, and you see our cameraman is back there recording everything. He's actually okay. He's not happy about being here, but he's managing. It's because we use the IMO system. Yes. There's no smell. I literally could pull a Watermeyer moment where I sit here and have my lunch or my dinner. And we're so happy that many of you out there have actually been moved and have had that paradigm shift to consider IMO an option for your farming aspect when it comes to pigs. So with that being said, how are you doing today? How are you feeling about the whole project that we have here at the farm with our pigs?
I'm really very glad. And of course, with the other myth that most people had before, that IMO is for small scale, you can't do it commercially. When you're doing pig farming, it's very difficult to manage. We actually, when we tried it, realized it was much cheaper, it was much manageable, it was easy, it reduced on the number of people that are working right here. So it had so many advantages. And from what we've been sharing on the videos, you guys have really seen how it has been, how we have, a few people working right here. And also we've also shared the differences. We've gone to other farms which have slated kind of buildings, and they're also having pigs. So there's a huge difference. And also in terms of, costs, it is quite different and very easy with the IMO that we are using right here. And of course, for those who don't know about the IMO, it is the indigenous microorganisms. That's what we are using right here, because most of you really ask about it. What is IMO? You guys talk about IMO all the time. What is it and why did you prefer? We have all those videos right there, but we can't stop emphasizing and also sharing with you guys the good news about what we are using, how we are using this system right here. With the management, guys, we have 3 people working right here. Only 3. And this building is really very, very big. And we have quite a number of animals right here. With the way we are managing it, it is much, much easier. That's what I should say.
So not only is it easier, it just makes more sense financially, right? Because I remember in the very beginning, we had a manager that used to fight with me and Tina every single day, even to the point where the building was being constructed. At the last minute, he tried to call an audible.
Yeah.
Like he really truly believed that these should just be slated floors. He wanted us to do it the old-fashioned way. But then we know we're conscientious people, so we figure, you know what? We have neighbors that are not necessarily fans of pigs. We actually live in an area where it's a mixture. This is Uganda. You have Christians, you have Muslim people that live all over the place. So I wanted to build a facility where unless you're standing, even if you're standing in the house, you know, you would not even know that there are pigs being kept here, because in terms of cleanliness, you know, you just need a dedicated staff that's going to follow through with the protocol. Because don't get it wrong, even with IMO, if they don't follow the proper procedures, meaning even like right now, you see our leader for this section, he's actually spraying, and he's actually added more chips and more sawdust to this specific section. You can get smell, but if you manage it the way you're supposed to, there will be no smell. You literally can keep your pigs as a secret, even if you have a neighbor who really despises animals. But the main reason I actually wanted to cover this topic with you guys, right? This is not just for small scale operation. That's like the #1 misnomer about using this system versus using the basic slated system that everybody tends to use. Because when it comes to you having, let's say, 1,000 pigs, or you scale up to 2,000 pigs, you want to go to commercial, do you know how many staffers you would need to actually maintain 2,000 pigs on a slated system? Think of the water usage. Think of the personnel you're going to need to have on the ground. With this, literally, we can have 3 people here, 4 people here, and have about 600 to 700 pigs with no problem, because they're literally not scrubbing every inch. The pens every day, it's a small section. And the cool thing about these pigs, they usually handle their business in the same area. You know, they're not dirty, as people always like to say, right? You know, they'll find one section to do their #1. They'll always use the same section to do the #2. Now, every once in a while, if you have an area that's actually, if you're using the old traditional troughs where there's always standing water, then they're gonna go to that area to do their business, right? So that's the reason why we try to tell you guys, try to see if you can get yourself some level of plumbing, because #1, the animals are gonna drink more, and the more they drink, the more they're gonna eat, right? So that's something you guys should really consider. You don't have to do it on this scale. You can definitely do it on a much lower scale, but there are ways you can actually get nipple drinkers into like an old drum. All you need is just a plumber and some basic tools, and gravity will do the rest.
That is really true. Let's talk about the feeding. Most of the people who think, you know, pigs really eat a lot, sometimes you really need to measure your feeds as well.
Always measure.
Always measure your feeds. So as long as you start this project, make sure you planned in advance. We've always preached this: plant your feeds before even you start, so that when you start, it's not going to be very difficult for you. It's not going to be very frustrating for you, so that you can be able to raise your pigs as a happy farmer. So when I talk about mixing and also getting measurements for your pigs, pigs eat twice a day. In the morning, then also in the evening or afternoon. And of course, you also have to measure according to the body size and also the age. So you have to always be on top of your game. Make sure that you measure your piglets, your growers, your finishers, and know the amount. And also when you're also as an owner of the farm, as long as they're giving the feeds to the pigs, you should be there as well. Sometimes if you're not around, you should also train these people to know that, okay, this is the amount of food that I'm supposed to give to each piglet, not just randomly putting the feeds in the feeding troughs, then you disappear. Sometimes if you put a lot, they will not feed, because the pigs also know the quantity that they feed. So you can leave it there, then later on they'll be able to play with it, and it is wastage to you. And that is in the long run costing you as a farmer, and you get frustrated.
When it comes to taking care of these pigs, even before you get to the point where you have your pigs, you have to secure your feeds. That's #1. I'm not a preacher, but if I were, I would be playing one in real life here as it pertains to taking care of animals, right? The thing about it, guys, if you want to get into poultry, for example, I know this is a slightly off topic, but follow me for a minute here. Most of you understand if you're going to get into poultry, you need to secure your starter mash, you need to secure all of the other components that you need to feed your broilers, for example, for the first 2 weeks, for the first 4 weeks. And these are chickens, right? Chickens do not consume anywhere nearly as much as pigs do. So if you actually have to pre-plan to purchase the feeds for your chickens, what do you think you have to do for pigs? And that's what typically drive out most pig farmers out of business, right? It happens with poultry as well. Some poultry farmers that don't plan accordingly end up losing their parenting stock because they didn't plan accordingly for the fluctuation in the market with the price of feeds, right? It's the same thing with pigs, but the only difference is whatever amount of money you spend on feeds for poultry, you can times that by 4 or even times that by 5. So while we always preach, while we always tell you guys, even before you go and pick up those cute, cuddly little piglets to bring to your farm, you make sure you find a place where you can plant your maize, you can plant your soy, you can come up with any kind of combination that you need. But at the end of the day, no matter what happened, the base for your feeds is always going to be maize. So what do? Secure the maize, because that's the largest, I would say, component into your feeds mix that you're going to utilize. Don't leave it up to chance. Don't wait until you're completely out of maize brand, and at that point you're at the beck and call of whatever miller you can find. And these guys know they're very tricky. They know the time of year to withhold on the feeds, because they want the prices to go up and they know what their competitors are doing. So be a smart farmer, plan ahead, make sure you structure everything the right way. And guys, no matter what you do, yes, this is farming, but this is still a business, okay? That's where many of you guys are going wrong. You entering this field as if it's a hobby, and yet it's a real business. So by the time you get to the point where you realize you have a business on your hand, but you started to run it as a hobby, what's going to end up happening? You're going to end up suffering. And we don't want you to get in only to find yourself out less than 6 months, less to a year, because farming takes time, it takes patience, it takes you having a plan of action, a plan for organic growth. You know, many farmers out there, let me give you guys a perfect example. The new fad now, everybody want to just come out and just buy all the pregnant sows, right? To me, we do it, but I reluctantly sell people pregnant sows, especially for beginners, because most beginners don't even understand how that sow is supposed to deliver, the level of help they're supposed to provide that sow when she's actually in labor. They don't even understand the basics. So you can't go from crawling to flying overnight. You know, it's always best to actually get the piglets, get a few that you can manage. You can see the feed consumption as it changes from the time you get those piglets to the time that they're ready to either be served or be ready to be processed, right? But many of you are just getting started, and yet you want to start out with 4 pregnant sows. Do you realize with 4 pregnant sows, coming from a good breeding stock, 4 pregnant sows is not 4. You have to use your imagination. 4 is actually 40 plus. Okay? And many of you might just have built a structure that can only house 6 adult pigs. Now all of a sudden, if you come home with 5 females, you have 50 pigs on your hand, and your budget right there is just blown out of whack, right? Because you have to figure out how you're gonna feed 50 pigs. You have to figure out the staffing for 50 pigs. More importantly, you have to figure out housing for 50 pigs. And if you don't plan out accordingly, that's when you're gonna realize, like, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. And by the time you get to the I made a mistake stage, so much money is gonna already be burned. Money you're never gonna get back. Time you're never gonna get back. And that also goes into choosing the wrong breed, but I'm gonna let my partner handle that one.
Choosing the wrong breed. We always emphasize genetics is really key in your reproduction, in your farming, may it be pigs, goats, all that. We've always preached that, you know, as long as you have good genetics, you can't go wrong. So when you're going to select the breeds that you're going to start with as a beginner farmer, because mostly people who are watching this are beginner farmers or they're just getting into these projects, you have to go to a reputable farm make sure, before even you go to a reputable farm, do your research. Make sure that you know which breeds you're going to go for. Are you going to go for the Canberras? Are you going to go for the Landraces, large whites, Durocs? You also have to see the differences. How is it going to benefit me? Am I going to do from start to finish? Am I going to do just to sell piglets? You understand? So you have to make sure you've done your research properly, you've selected the right breeds, then you go to the reputable farm. Then you can be able to get your breeds that you want, the genetics that you want to start with at your farm. So that when you're into the breeding process, you know what you're going to get at the end of it all. And of course, we also urge all people out there who just randomly go and buy these pigs from anywhere. You don't know how it is, you don't know how they're being kept, they don't have even records. You bring to your farm, then it fails. The piglets are not growing. They're not really giving you anything at the end of it all. By the end of the day, maybe the pigs are fatty, a lot of fat in them. Those are some of the things that you really need to consider when you're selecting the genetics that you're going to bring at your farm. So genetics is key as a beginner farmer or someone who is already into this business. Because most people, because there are olden days that how people were taking care of pigs, how they were, doing farming previously. You have to be on top of your game. Learn new skills. Learn new breeds that are on market, that are going to benefit you. That's what I should really say about the breeds. That's
excellent as usual. But guys, let me also, I just want to make sure I highlight something that I want you guys to think about, right? You see, many of you that are just getting started, yes, you're doing your research, and that's how you found this channel, and we welcome you here as always. But there's a very, very, very big misnomer when it comes to selecting the breeds, right? Some of you guys might just want large whites, and that's great. The large white meat is fine. It's a fine breed. It grows fast. Some people like that type of meat, but it's also based on your region.
Yeah.
It's a matter of your preference, right? But a lot of people think that they just want to just buy the large white. They want to buy the Landrace, only to create the Canberra. That's going to take you time. It's going to cost you money. If you can find yourself with a Canberra to start with, that's going to save you almost, I would say, a year into getting to that specific breed. We have Canberras here. Yeah. There are farmers now in Uganda, that have actually imported really good genetics. From outside, they've imported high quality semen that have actually been producing here in the country. If you can get the chance to get a Canberra to begin with, I strongly urge you to start there instead of going the rudimentary route of getting a Landrace and a large white, only to create a Canberra, right? So why not start with the finished article, the genuine product, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel? If your goal is to get in and you're here to actually do start to finish, get you as many Canberras as you can. If the goal is for you to actually, breed, you should still get yourself a real Canberra. That's just my humble opinion. But some of you just happen to have a strong affinity for the large whites. That's what you know. That's what you've been around, and that's okay.
That is okay.
And then some of you just love like I personally, I have a very strong bias towards my Landrace.
Wow.
They're so majestic. They're so big.
They're big and long.
They're so friendly. I love that breed.
Yeah,
I really love the Landrace like you wouldn't believe. But if I was starting, if I had the chance, picking a Landrace, right, going the longer route, I would choose a Canberra every day of the week to start, and of course go from there. Yeah. Anything you want to add?
I think that is it for this video. I think you've really picked one or two things from this. I really appreciate you guys. In case you have any questions and comments as well.
One last thing.
All right.
Because this is business. As much as we love these animals, business is still business. You have to keep the lights on.
All right.
You have to keep the business running.
Okay.
Do you guys understand right now the shortage of food all around the globe at this moment? Being in the business of farming, I don't care if you're in crop management or if you're into animal husbandry, whether you're raising quails, chickens, duck, whatever it is. Right now, the price of food is going up everywhere. Particularly what surprised me is the price of pork. When I first arrived here in Uganda, pork was probably the cheapest out of the big three that you can buy, right? When you consider beef, goats, pork was the cheapest, most affordable.
Most
wouldn't you say?
affordable. Yeah.
Like right now, the last time I actually walked into Carrefour,
Yeah.
looking for 1 kg of pork, it was currently on market at 24,000 shillings per kg.
A kilogram.
I remember when I first came, it was what, roughly 18 to 20. You know, no. On the street at the local establishments, it was around 15. But even right now, on the street, if you go buy pork,
20,000.
how much is it now?
Like around 20,000.
On the streets.
Yeah.
So, as you contemplate getting in, just imagine by the time that you're ready to put your meat on the market when it comes to pork, right? Where those prices are gonna be. And the good thing about pigs, guys, they are the most prolific breeders within the animal kingdom. One, if we're talking about just like 4-legged mammals, right? We're talking about like the most prolific. That's the reason why the world is being overrun by wild pigs. Thank you, Canada. You're welcome.
That is really true. With these pigs here, you see, oh my God, they're really looking so nice.
Perfect example, the pigs behind us, we have what? We have 6 here?
6 right here.
Just imagine, instead of you seeing 6 pigs, there's actually 60 pigs here. Because in about 2 to 3 months, when we breed these these beautiful ladies, we are expecting no less than 60 piglets.
Right here.
So that's the reason why even the room we're standing in, this is not built for 6 pigs. It's built to at least maintain 40 to 50 piglets.
Yes,
so just to give you guys a little bit of visual aid, but I'm sure we'll do a follow-up video on this. This video is getting way too long. I wanted to say thank you guys for all the love and support. And, you know, it's been a great journey so far. And I hope some of you decide to join us on this journey. And, yeah, we'll see you in the next video, right?
Yeah, of course. But before we end the video, we need to also advise them to go to our social media platforms as well.
Of course.
Please check out our social media platforms. We have Instagram, that is Value Farm UG. Facebook is Value Farm, TikTok is Value Farm. You can definitely see the behind the scenes and these little cuties here when we brought them right here and how they are progressing with the growth. But more videos are coming up, definitely. But we appreciate you guys so much. Leave your comments down below what you think about the video and also any suggestions as well. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.